Okay. All right. So there's two different ways of moving your waist, offensive and defensive hip. And you can perform that in either a Changul Jase or a Hugul Jase. So let's just start very basic stances. So Changul Jase here, feet are shoulder width apart, right knee goes back, left knee is forward. Feet are shoulder width apart. You want to make sure that the inside of your feet are lined up with your hips. Okay, that's the width of your stance. Back knee is straight, back heel pushing into the earth. Front knee is bent. You look down and your knee should be over your toes. Energy is pushing out this outside edge of your heel and towards the ball of your foot on the front leg. Back is straight. Then from here, pivot on the back heel. Toes are out, both knees bend. This is called Sagurup Jase or side stance. So Changul Jase, pivot on the back heel, both knees bend, Sagurup Jase. Hugul Jase, the front hip pulls back, heels are lined up with each other. Belt knot is facing 90 degrees to the side in this manner. Okay, so notice here the weight is pulled on the back leg. Changul Jase, front foot steps and turn. Changul Jase. Pivot, Sagurup Jase. Those are our three basic stances. So from here, pull the hip back and line up the feet. One, Hugul. And then as you step, notice you've got to turn your hips towards the front into a Changul Jase. And that'll get into the front stance. From here, pivot, both knees bent, pull the hip back, Hugul Jase here. Notice the belt knot needs to be turned to the side, knees are bowed out at 90 degrees. Front foot steps and turns, forward stance, Changul Jase. Pivot, pull back, and then let's switch feet. So let's start in Changul Jase again. Feet shoulder width apart. Think about your hip bones lining up with the insides of your feet. That's the width of your stance. Front knee is bent, toes looking over the knees, back leg locked out straight with the knee, heel pushing into the floor, so all 10 toes are facing a forward direction. Now from here, pivot on the back heel, both knees bend. That's your Sagurup Jase, your side stance. Then pull the hip back into your Hugul Jase. Your knees your heels are lined up, knees bowed out into 90 degrees, belt knot facing to the side, and your front hip pulling back here, but the back's still straight. This is Hugul Jase. So from here, step forward, turn to the side, twist the belt knot 90 degrees into your Changul Jase front stance. Then pivot on the back heel, bend both your knees. Weight is centered here in Sagurup Jase. Okay, so weight is centered, and then you just turn to this 45 angle, and that's your Sagurup, okay, side stance. Then hip pulls back into your Hugul Jase, knees bowed out 90 degrees. Front foot steps out, turn the waist. This is what's called defensive hip. So as we step forward and complete that Changul Jase again, we're going to turn our hip to the side, inhale and contract. And then as we step forward, our front hip snaps back into a completed Changul Jase. Back leg steps, inhale, contract. Bring everything together. And then as we step forward again, think about that front hip snapping back. So a side view here. One, as I step, the front hip snapping back in this manner. Okay, one more time. We step forward, inhale, prepare sideways. As we step, connect to the earth, hip snaps, exhale. Remember, back knee is straight, locked out. Push the back heel into the floor and make sure that the back toes are facing forward. Typical mistake here, instructors, make sure you don't have a flat tire, which with your students, your toes will be facing sideways and more weight will be on the inside of the foot than on the outside of the foot. Okay, so you want to make sure to correct that is pivot on that heel and make sure the toes are facing a forward direction. Okay, so then paro. That's defensive hip. Offensive hip is the exact opposite. Instead of preparing your hip by turning, you hold the hip back in reverse. So from, let's go left leg forward, Chunggul Jase. So from here, our front hip holds back one. Okay, so as I step forward and drive the weight forward, I hold the hip back. So defensive hip, turn, offensive hip, open and hold back. Then as we step, remember that the front heel lifts as my knee goes past my toes. I continue to drive forward until my back foot crosses my front foot, and that's when I begin to fall forward. Once I connect to the earth, my hip turns and drive weight onto the front leg. Make sure that the toes are facing forward on the step. Otherwise, if they turn sideways, that over rotates the hip and you break the stance. So make sure the toes face forward. So if we're left leg forward, inhale, hold the hip back, one. Inhale, step, and as you step, you're going to push that front hip forward. So defensive hip, front hip snaps back on the step, and offensive hip, front hip pushes forward on the step. Okay, so then left leg stepping, inhale one, hold the left hip back, lift the front heel as the knee goes past the toes. Hold the hip back. Once you connect to the earth, front hip snaps forward instead of the hip snapping back in defensive hip. Inhale, hold back, one, step, and snap. Again, last time here, we inhale, prepare, one, step, and drive. Paro. Both of these hip motions are found in Kichohyung Ilbu and Kichohyung Ibu. So from here, okay, I'll do the form the same way rather than mirror image. So here we're all going to look to our left. Inhale, prepare. Gather, get those elbows touching, roll the shoulders, inhale, collect yourself. Then as you step, the front hip snaps back into a completed Haranmaki. Then as you shift forward, you drive the weight onto that front knee, lifting the front heel, hold the right hip back. Now, as you do that, the hip is going to drive forward, which motivates the arm to lift. So you're going to push with your left hand and pull with your right hand. One, which is what's happening with your hip. Your left hip is pushing, your right hip is pulling. Then we step, Chungdang Gongyak. Look, feet come together, one, prepare, elbows touch. Now as you step, the right hip will snap back into a completed front stance. Hup. Raise the hand up, expand, inhale, step, Chungdang Gongyak. Look down the middle, inhale, prepare, elbows touch. As the front foot steps, the front hip snaps back. Completed front stance. Lift the hand up, center level, drive weight onto the front heel, onto the front knee, lift the heel, and expand the chest, one. Feel the chest opening. So you don't want to keep your shoulders square. A lot of styles talk about that square shoulder. Later on, we'll talk about why there's benefits to not having those square shoulders. So from here, as we lift, we want to push and pull, expand the chest, prepare, holding that hip back until you connect to the earth. And then as you punch, the hip drives forward. Complete the front stance. Inhale, expand. One more. Inhale, prepare, and key up. Horo. We'll do the hyung one more time, and this time remember that it's a 2 count in the hyung. So we'll go 1, 2, pause, 1, 2, pause. Okay, so back up 4 steps. Chumbi. Kicho hyung ilbu. Shisan, look. Shisan, Paro. Sure. Okay, so that's the first hyung. So let's have everyone chumbi, ready position. I'm going to watch as you perform that hyung and provide some feedback if necessary. Ready position, Kicho Hyung Ilbu, 시작. Roll. Show. Very nice. Okay, Mr. Malone, when you prepare your elbows here, a little more natural, a lot of upper body tension. So later we're going to talk about more relaxation motivated by the breath. But for now, as you inhale and cross, just a little more natural. Here, that's it. No, not here. Just here. And then this is the proper defense. So what the preparation for these blocks are is also to teach you about this block here. So this arm should be straight. This arm should be bent here. And that creates, and the elbows physically touching. That's it. That's the position. Okay, so make sure that we have that good connection. Correct. Correct. Then once those elbows are touching, that's your pivot point. This arm now goes down the track. And that creates a predictable path for the haranmaki. And then this hand follows that same line back to the chamber, which should be at your floating rib, not at the belt. So lift it up a little higher. Hey, Mr. Armstrong, remember the Chungdang Gongyak on Kicho Hyung Ilbu's center level? Common mistake you'll find maybe in yourself and your students is to think that that's at the shoulder height. Because in your own body, your brain thinks that your head is the center of your body, but your stomach is below your head. So you're going to feel like you're punching too low. The strike is going downhill here. Nice preparations. I saw a lot of change just in the last time that I saw you. So looking very good. Let's move on now to Kicho Hyung Ibu, which now has the Sangnan Maki and the Sangnan Gongyak. Remember here for Chungdang Gongyak that you always want to have the knuckles lined up with your radius and ulna. But as you do a high punch, you're going to have to turn the wrist slightly so that you still have a nice solid strike, right? Weapon. If you have the wrist straight and you strike a hard surface, you'll notice that you'll strike with these knuckles instead. They're sticking out. So on the Sangdang Gongyak, you'll have to adjust slightly. The target for Sangdang Gongyak is Inchung, the upper lip. The target for Chungdang Gongyak is the diaphragm. Okay, so we'll be striking here on ourselves in Kicho Hyung Ibu, and then we also have the Sangnan Maki, which we'll talk about. Back up 4 steps, we'll begin. Chumbi. Hicho Hyung-ibu. Okay, from here, Shisan look, inhale, prepare. Elbows touch, physically touching. Okay, then here as we step, front hip snaps back. Hup. Raise the hand up towards the face, shift the weight, expand the chest. So pull the chamber hand back and push the fist out as far as possible. So your shoulders, you don't want them square. You want to expand so that you actually hide the back fist. You see how you can't see my fist? You see how you can see it now? Now it's hidden because I hold that hip back and I expand my chest so much, but my knee's still facing forward. So now my body weight maintains the forward momentum. Notice here that my fist is right at Inchung level. Wrist slightly bent. Shisan, look over the right shoulder. Next two motions. Shisan, look down the middle. Inhale, prepare. Elbows touch. Elbows physically touching here. Back hand reaching. Front hand pulling. Haranmaki. Predictable stance, Haranmaki. Now we go into Sangnanmaki, the high block. So now cross prepare one. Elbows physically touch. So the right hand will be on bottom here, and your hips are turned towards the left side of your body. Okay, so again, physically touching. Because now what you do is as you create a little pressure on the elbow joints, the top hand is a guide. Your forearm is a track. This is like the train wheel. And so you see, as I put pressure, it slightly bends my arm. And then as I go up, the arm follows that track up, and this hand goes straight into the chamber position. That's your Sangnanmaki. So as you prepare here and step, lift the arm, Sangnanmaki. Make sure that the elbow is directly over the knee, not off to the side where you turn like this. Okay, it needs to be over the knee, hip driving forward. Not too bent in the arms. So if you have a partner, you can try resisting and pushing down on their arm. Without any effort, your arm should stay where it is. If it's too bent, you'll find it very easy to collapse your partner's arm, which means it needs to be a little straighter in the bend. So Mr. Malone, for example, it's too bent. You want to straighten that arm a little more so that you have a stronger technique. Then from here, as we turn, we inhale, arms motivated by the breath and the hip turning, elbows drop. And then same thing, hip turns. And as the hip turns, the arm follows the nature of the waist. Other hand chambers. Same thing, inhale, see how this elbow drops. Inhale, elbows touch. Last Sangnanmaki here, finish. Horo. Back it up, let's try a couple of the Sangnanmaki. So from here, left leg stepping, inhale, prepare. Elbows prepare, touch. Just the Sangnanmaki, high block facing towards the camera. And hana, lift. Okay, here, elbow drops, inhale, turn. One, and turn, lift. Hana, pull. Hana, kiha, kiha. Horo. Much better. 4 steps back. Kicho Hyung-ibu. I'll take a look. Chumbi, ready position. Shijak. And pro. Good. Okay, Mr. Malone, continue to think about this connection and compare and contrast the feeling of this with what you've been doing. And you should feel more relaxed power, less power coming from the shoulders. Now, all of us, regardless of who we are preparing to defeat the superior opponent. So, by definition, you are the underdog. You're the person who's weaker. So, somebody like me, you can't maybe tell on camera, but I'm 5'4", 140 pounds. I'm always the underdog in a fight. Okay, so when you meet me, you're going to be, I don't even know some of you, I've never met you all in person. You're going to be taller than me. You're going to weigh more than me. You're going to be that superior opponent. So, regardless if you're used to being the underdog or being the biggest guy or gal in the room, you want to prepare as a martial artist to defeat somebody who's bigger, stronger, and meaner than you. So, you can't rely on this because this will fail. This only works if you're the superior opponent. So here you want to have the relaxed power, which actually is stronger than this. Because now what you're relying on is your legs and your waist. There's more mass in the technique than just your arm. So when you're doing this, you're relying on the weight of your arm to carry you through, which weighs more than mine. But when I use my legs and my waist in the technique, your arm doesn't weigh as much as my entire body. And so now I become the superior opponent because there's more weight behind my technique than behind yours. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I kind of simplified it. It's more complicated than that, but hopefully that paints a picture. Okay. Mr. Armstrong, again, I'm seeing a lot of good things from you. Actually, there's not much feedback that I'd provide to you at the level in which I'm instructing this class right now. So wait a little longer and I'll provide you some feedback. Let's go to Kicho Hyung Sambu for a few minutes, and then we're going to spend the next half hour on Basai Hyung, which is out of sequence. But since Mr. Armstrong has some students preparing with that Hyung, I'd like to get you that material. Okay, so Kicho Hyung Sambu now introduces two more stances. It introduces the Hugul Jase and introduces the Sagurip Jase. So in the Hugul Jase here, with defensive hip, because we're doing a block, so if I was going to do Ane Supakaro Maki here for the first technique, but in a Chungul Jase, it would look very similar to the Haran Maki, and now we're just doing a different block. But now we're changing the stance. Chungul Jase, by definition, Chun means front, Gol means bend. Chungul Jase, front bend stance. Hugul Jase, back bend stance. Okay? So in Hugul Jase, you may be stepping forward, but you're advancing back. So on this here, what you're going to do is start by pushing your hips forward so they can pull back. In Chungul Jase, you're stepping forward, so your hips started at point A and they ended in point B. Do you see how my hips traveled forward? So we have to create that same thing in reverse in a Hugul Jase, which means I've got to start my hips here and then end them over here. Okay, so at the same time, you're going to turn your waist so that the front hip snaps back as you perform the block. So the hip has to turn this way as well. But we want our belt knot to end up sideways. So as we twist, we've got to turn past 90. So then I can stop at 90. Whereas in a Chungul Jase, I could start at 90 because I was going to end at 180. Does that make sense? I hope. So from here, you're going to reach and turn and then pull and twist. One, reach and turn, and then snap and pull so that you're sitting on the back leg. So I'm going to mirror image for you. So you're going to use your left leg, and we're going to go this way. Okay? So my right leg, it's your left leg. We're going to call it left. So from here, lift your left leg forward and pull. Just feel this motion. So your hip pushes forward, and then it snaps back. And your hip joint, where your hip connects to your femur, you should feel a little crease in your leg. That crease kind of, your skin kind of folds around that crease as you move into that back stance. Okay, so reach and back. Reach and back, and then you lift your leg up as you do it. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay, then you're going to twist from 180 here, stop at 90. 180, 90. So then you put it together from here, reach and twist, and then pull and twist. Reach and twist, pull and twist. Make sure your knees stay bowed out at 90 degrees as you do this. Your belt knot ends at 90. Again, 1 and twist. Then we try it on the right leg over here. We're going to reach and pull. Reach and pull. So you just kind of feel that motion with your hip, and then you're twisting. 180, 90. 180, 90. Reach and twist, pull and twist. Reach and twist, pull and twist. Okay, that's your Hugel Jase. Here, Mr. Malone, make sure the weight stays on your left leg. Never put weight on the right in a back stance. So here, always, always. There's never weight. Belt knot or your navel, since you don't have a belt, is facing the camera. There you go. Knees aren't, though. Knees are bowed out 90 degrees. Yes, it hurts. If it does, then you're doing it right. Paro. So Kicho Hyung Sambu. Oh, let's talk about the Sagorip Jase, the Hwengjin Gongyak side punch. So everybody step forward with your left. I'll step forward with my right. Hadan Maki, low defense. So now we're going to do the Hwengjin Gongyak side punch. Lift the hand. Prepare offensive hip, expand. Now, as we step, we're going to step into Kyochirip Jase, a cross-legged stance. 1, get your feet on a tightrope. That allows you to hold that hip back long enough. Okay. Now, as your elbow starts to move forward, and once your elbow leaves your hip, that's when you turn. Typical mistake is that you will turn your hip too soon. Let's see, you'll do it this way. Turn the hip too soon, elbow comes out, and then you punch this way. I call that a chicken wing. Okay, now you got a chicken wing with your punch. So what you want to do, side view now, is as you step, 1, 2, you see my elbow is connected to my hip. It's physically touching my hip. Once my elbow leaves my hip and there's no longer a physical connection, that's when I begin to twist. If I twist any sooner than that, I'm going to get that chicken wing, and it's not going to be a straight punch. You're going to strike with your pinky knuckle. Okay, so again, from the Hadan Maki, left leg forward. 1, expand. Step, hold the hip back. You're on the tightrope. Begin the punch, and then release. Turn it over. Pivot on the heel as you step. Okay? You can't shift sideways like this. Your knee doesn't bend that way. So you pivot on the heel so the toes are facing forward. Now the knee comfortably drives forward. You lift your front heel. Step, cross your legs, hold that hip back, begin the punch, and then once the elbow leaves the hip, turn. Okay, so now it looks a little smoother. Pivot, step, release. Pivot, step, release. Very good. One more time, pivot, step, and punch. Huang Jing Gong Yak. Good. Murray Sawanim still twisting the wrist over too soon in the strike. Okay, and everyone parole. All right, so with understanding those two techniques, we can now begin Kicho Hyung Sambu. Remember, all three of these forms has a 2-count timing. 1, 2, pause, 1, 2, pause throughout the Hyung. So Chumbi, going towards the left, and I'm going to do it the correct way. So I'm going to go towards the left. You'll move towards the left. Hana. Huang Jing Gong Yak. Now notice the fist here. The fist should be facing the camera. So your chest is open to maximum. Belt not facing sideways. So a lot of you see how you can see your elbow in the camera? Elbow's gone. If you do it right, you can't see your elbow. Then shift the weight, extend. Hold the hip back. Chung Dong Gong Yak, middle punch. Look over the front shoulder. Inhale, feet come together. Now remember here, you're going to reach and hold this hip back. Then you're going to snap your hip, twist, and pull the hip back. So twisting and pulling. Now, as your weight shifts forward, the front hand extends. Hold the left hip back as you step, lift the right heel, release the punch. Chung Dong Gong Yak. Remember, the punch is going downhill, striking the diaphragm. Look over the front shoulder. Inhale, prepare, left foot together, left leg steps. Haran Maki. Raise the hand up. Here's your Huang Jing Gong Yak. So remember, hold the hip back until your elbow leaves the waist. Hana. Pull. Ki up. Next two motions. Hup. Next two. Hup. Next two. Hup. And with the kia. Shisan. Next two. Hup. And finish. Always hold that last position. Wait for the command. Baro, which means return. Snap your head. Look towards the center. Now motivated by the waist. Waist pulls back. Front foot steps. Inhale. Elbows touch. Elbows touch. Inhale. Physically touch. And exhale. Just get in that habit. If your arms cross, it's a physical elbow-to-elbow connection. Sure. Come on in. Any questions with the 3 Kicho Hyung? Go ahead. Yeah. Down the middle. Okay. That's Chungul Jase front stance. No. Both your belt knot is facing the fist, and all 10 toes are facing your fist. This one here, right? All 3 forms on the punches in the corners are Chungul Jase. So side view of that. 1, 2. Here, front stance. Front stance, correct. Good. Other questions? All right. So, Chariot. And let's see, Mr. Malone, Youngne Kamsamnida. If you'd like to observe the rest of this, you can, but we're going to go to a more advanced Hyung at this point. So, so you can just be seated and maybe and you can just observe if you want to stay. So, Mr. Armstrong, let's go through the Basai Hyung. Did you went through the digital dojang explanation? Okay. Any questions with that? Okay. Let me look at it, and then I'm going to be more deliberate with the feedback and what we focus on during the rest of the time. So let's have everybody back it up 5 steps. Okay, 준비. Basai Hyung. Basai 준비. Basai, not Jion Murray Sabernim. Okay. Trends, if you'd like to go through this Hyung, you may as well, or you can watch. Okay. Basai Hyung. 이 시작. Oro. Yeah, so just so we're clear, you'd end the hyung here and then wait for the command paro, and then you'll hear a second paro. And then cho. Rest. 감사합니다. Yeah, you're such a quick study. Okay. So let's go through a couple. You're 50% on one of the hardest blocks. One time you did it incorrectly, the second time you did it correctly. So let's just make sure that you understand it. So from here, good. You contract, step, turn the waist, just like we practiced. So face, start the first motion away, correct? Okay, I'm going to do it mirror image with you. So here, cross, left hand on bottom, step with your left, block 1. Okay, now from here, we inhale, but there's no waist motion. The breath initiates a contraction, and that's it. So inhale, contract. Now from here, just think about the hand, the chamber hand, and allow the back foot to adjust just a little bit. This is the active side. Most of the energy is in this arm. And there happens to be a block. Good. Okay, paro. So thinking about effectiveness, the block doesn't need to do much. It's mainly the waist. Moving of the waist to get out of the way of the attack is the defense. And then the arm is there primarily as insurance. You'll learn the same thing in Ship Chill and Ship Palvan of the one-step sparring. So when you come in here, 1, and then 2, a lot of people will try and move the arm out of the way this way, and it's a very weak block. You actually, if you punched me, Mr. Armstrong, I guarantee you, doing a block like this, I could not stop you from hitting my face. You're just, I've seen you. You're too big. You're too strong. I'd bounce right off your arm. But what I do from here instead is I turn my hip, and your fist then goes right past my head. I don't stop it. I just redirect it and I move my body out of the way. So that's what you're doing with this block. One, cross. So this is primary because this arm is what's helping my body get out of the way of the attack. This hand stays on the center line. That's it. That's better. Okay. So then when we go back around to here, one, pull back, two, you did that correctly. So now let's face this way and your left leg forward. We're ready to do the drop. Okay, so from here, we just went around to one and two. So you've got to switch feet, my mistake. So you're here, one with the left hand, block. Left hand comes around, one. And then pull back, shift the weight, two. Very nice. Make sure the elbows touch. Strike. Toes down here. Toes down, and make sure the knee goes straight up with the toes down. Here. That's it. Chamber discipline here. Yeah, chamber discipline. Pull this all the way back. Here, lifting the knee up. Good. Okay, you want to make sure that the fist here is at the ankle. Then pull, prepare. You did this right. And then one. Good. Now cross. Here it is again. Inhale and then turn. Correct. Okay, then here. Okay, let me just see those five again. Now, those might be right. Ready, go. So close. Back again. Tashi. Okay, so from here, one, and push the shoulder towards the hand. In other words, you're going to push your right hip forward and then snap back. That's it. That should feel stronger. Then punch. Keep the hips square, but not the chest. That's it. You feel that extra inch? Then inhale, contract. Okay, then from here, again, focus on the chamber hand, not on the block. That's the motion. And there happens to be a block too. That's it. Now extend. Center. Inhale. Elbow connection is very important. Make sure that always elbow connection. Then shift. Tashi again. Watch first. Okay, try again. Tashi. One, two. So that the first one's pseudo, open hand. Two. Inhale, don't move your hips. That's important. A lot of times you want to start here. It's one, two. Extend. One. Again, don't move the hips. Just inhale. Two. Tashi. One, two, three. You see, you turned your hips again. Tashi again. One, two, three, four. Now let's see if you can put it together. So now it'll be one, two. Hup. One, two. Yes, that's it. That's it. Tashi, one more time. Ready? Hup. One, two, three. Yes. One, two. Got it. Step, turn. Okay, let's try that again. Back up so I can see your feet a little better. But from here, you want to snake across. So you're going to come up and turn. Correct? Okay. One, turn, and hands on the hip. Step, reach, and twist. Turn. Correct. This hand, the wrist is on the diaphragm. So the fingers will stick out. You can see it's sticking out past my body, not here. A lot of times you see that. Then the fingers are protecting. You want the wrist to protect. And then the fingertips here are at shin height with the elbow drop to protect your floating ribs. Palm facing to the front. Good. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, now from here, you're going to turn the hips to the front, reach with the right hand, and pull with the left. Okay, so you look like this on sideways here. That's correct. Okay, then from here, just feel the hip pull back. And again, chamber hand is what the focus is. As it comes back to not the chamber, it comes to here. But right, it's here. That's the movement. And that should feel good. You should feel the hip moving your arm into position. And at the same time, you happen to peel with the front arm into the block or strike. This could be a strike. Okay, here, reach and here. Good. Make sure, think about the wrist. It's got to be facing forward so that you have the proper weapon. Steady here. Good. Okay. Poro. Questions on that so far? Okay. Am I moving too fast? Should we review that much for a little bit, or should we keep going? If we have to keep going, if you want to complete the Hyung tonight, about at this rate, maybe a little faster, or we can just do about half and then pick it up next time. Okay. So from here now, we're going to work on the side kick. Let me show you from the side view here. Here, inhale. 1, knee comes up. Notice how high my knee is. It's above the belt. The knee must be above the belt, and you notice that I'm standing straight up. I'm not rocking my hips one way or the other. I'm pretty straight. Okay, so I'm here 1. Then as I kick, hand goes to the opposite hip and extend the leg. Full extension, head stays up. As the hip pulls back, you see the rocking motion, and then the hand switch to the other side. That way, I can throw my hips back to do that block. Okay, so from here, yep, let's go. Ready? Knee comes up. 1, 2, kick, hands to the hip. Lock the leg out. Feel that extension. Back up straight. Then pull back. Knee up high and fall. And paro. So what you'll want to do is work on the yaporochagi side kick. You can work on a wall here and just kind of lifting this way. And you want to always make sure that the toes are lower than the heel as you do this kick. Okay, just kind of lifting this way. Okay, and then just working nice and slow with that kick. So if I'm here with you, okay, prepare 1, knee up. Let's just practice the kick a few times. And extend. Hana, dual, and pull back. Okay, and then keep the knee up and kick again. Dual, and back. Keep the knee high and set. Switch, and back. Keep the knee high. Don't drop the knee as you kick. Net. Keep the knee high as you kick. Don't drop the knee, Miss Bear. There you go. And back. Keep the knee high and key up. Kia! And back and down. Now, as you do that side kick, as you practice the yaporochagi, make sure that the arms are on the outside of your body and that you're leaning forward. Everything should hurt in a side kick. This whole side from your glutes to your quads a little bit, but mainly your glutes, your obliques, everything to here should hurt. Even me, who's, I don't know how many side kicks I've done, every time I do a side kick, it hurts. Okay, so here, knee comes up. Is that Vivian? You don't have to get your dobok on since you just got back from work. Come train with us. We're doing Basai. Let's get it done. What? How's that, Bridget? You're in surgery. Did that not happen? Did that not happen? Oh, well, let's train. Yeah, okay. All right. No excuses. Okay, here we go. And Hana, 1. Okay, knee up, high. Okay, then from here, as we kick, this time what we're gonna do is as we do this kick, we're just gonna do a normal side kick. 1, keep the head high and get that hand on the outside edge of the leg. 1 and back. Don't lean back as you do this. Keep your head up and dual. Feel your obliques burning. 2 and back. And 3 and back. And 4 outside of the leg and back. And last one, 5 outside of the leg and back. Good. Okay. So I think we see the expectation for the Yaporo Chagi just takes a lot of conditioning work. Okay. And Bear Jokyo, I'm sure that's not new to you, knowing where you came from. So from here, all of the rest look pretty good. Let's go to the next kick. So here you went to the punch. Pivot first so that your body turns all the way to the front. And then lift, and you must kick over your head. You see? Mr. Armstrong, you did it. Okay? Oh, well, you weren't kicking over your head last time I saw it. Because what you're doing is you're kicking as you turn your hip, and that makes it much harder. Make sure that you turn the hip 1, then kick. Correct. That's it. So now after you finish that kick, keep the knee high and pull the hip back. Then you cross, haranmaki, cross underneath because this is a block to here. Now, same thing with this one. As you kick, you've got to kick at head height, but keep the chest facing forward. 1. Try again, Tashi. Got to kick to the head. Re-tul. Try again, Tashi. Re-set. That's it. Good. Okay, chest is forward. Look and strike. 1 and 2. 1, 2. Okay, that looked great. From here. These techniques, make sure your back stays straight. Here. No lean. Inchong and Tunjun. Abdomen strike. So here you'd be like striking the bladder, or your pelvis at the pubic bone has a piece of cartilage that you're going to break, and then that breaks the stability of that bone structure. Okay, so from here you pull back, Hadan and Sangnan. 1. Okay, palms are up and down like this, not like this here. Okay, and then make sure that when you strike, you can just practice on a wall and make sure that they're the same distance, right? Not sometimes you see like this. Same. Okay, then we pull back, inhale. Now to be able to kick over your head on this one, you got to pull your hip back. 1 and lift. 1 and lift. Okay, then from there, turn, lift, and then spin. So then you're facing sideways. Keep the knee high, and then turn high and low. Good. Remember, your own Inchong and then your own Tanjun. So the low punch should be right at the belt knot. Okay, and then inhale, that's better. And then you finish. These look pretty good. There's minor. So we're going to skip that. Okay, back it up. Let's look at the form one more time. Chumbi. Basai Chumbi. Okay, let's work on that Chumbi one more time. Forgot that part. So here, you're all doing some of this circle up and back down. All it is in, drop to the belt, and then push out. No circle. Just one, straight down, and then out. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, simple. Okay, from here, Shija. Yes. Cross your elbows as you lift. Good. Correct. Punch. Cross, don't turn the hip. Cross on bottom. Square the hips. Cross, don't hip. Correct. Comes the chops. Step back, peel. So from here, remember, reach, elbows touch, reach and pull, and then focusing on the chamber hand. Inhale, side kick. Yep, good. Pull back, chops. One more. Step back, go through that. No, go back. Go back to the last, the U punch. Okay, now pull back and then turn your hips and left hand on top. Correct. Now kick. Good. Go. U punch. Now pull back, left hand on top, and then turn. Correct. And paro. Okay, you'll work on that. You saw the paro. Just down and then stand. You're doing an extra something. There you go. That's it. Okay. Last few things. Hips to the side on this first technique. It's a block. If it were a strike, you turn your hips to the front. But it's a block. So side stance here on the first move. 1, 2. Let's see. We fix that with these. Make sure that when you go around here, this hand chambers. Chamber. Chamber. When you come here, make sure this is a low block or a punch coming forward rather than thinking about down. Yeah, so just different angle on that. Hopefully that'll help support your two red belt students as they continue their progression. And now you have the 3 Gicho forms. We're just missing Pyongan Chodan for your yellow belts wanting to get to 6th cup. So, and then you also have the 1 steps and the 1 through 4. And so we're almost there with your students. Okay, thank you all. It's good to be here. Just so that you know, and let me stop this.